Hello, and welcome to Wake Up Our Faith. This is the show where passion, purpose, and dreaming big challenge common sense. We like to think of it as a conversation to shed light on the upside of upside down living. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams. What's up, brother?
You up, man.
I hear you, brother. Well, we are excited to be with you guys today. It is Wednesday. That means we are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter here in the Big Talker studios. Our show is rebroadcast every single Saturday and Sunday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Wilmington's Big Talker 106.7 FM. The show is also podcasted to iTunes and Spotify. We'd love for you guys to check that out to learn more about our organization, who we are, and how we help folks bridge the gap between Sundays. You can go to youprint.life, youprint.life. If you are listening on the live stream today, say hello, leave us a comment, like, heart, all that kind of fun stuff so we can engage with you. We appreciate you guys joining us today. We've got a great topic. Today's topic, Kev, is helping others, the key to your circumstances. So I will let you, you are the man when it comes to the topics and titles. So I'm going to let you have the...
Well, sometimes they come in the elevator on the way up.
That's right. Oh, man. But they're here, and here we are.
Well, I think a lot of this comes from just working with people and watching the patterns of things people go through and as they navigate their days and our culture and all that. So, today's title is... sounds kind of basic, but it's really it's got a lot. It's about moving in the right direction. One of the things I've been running into a lot lately with different folks, especially some in a really difficult place, is we call that circumstance. Well, my circumstance. Well, I wish I could get out of this, or I wish I could escape, or it's kind of exhausting after a while. Not listening to it, but kind of living in that place with people and trying to help them.
Sure, being empathetic to go to the moment with them, but seeing them kind of stuck in this stagnation, and it's almost like you can see the way out, but they're unwilling.
Absolutely, yes,
and
no doubt.
But they're unwilling or don't see it for themselves.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's just it's a matter of some more layers coming off.
Gotcha.
It's unwillingness is not always, it's not always rebellious or an independent spirit. It's more of a, most of the time, sort of accidental. I never thought of it that way.
Gotcha.
But there's a daily encouragement that needs to happen. So, we've been talking about a lot of things about having a sense of mission, and last week about people that live in this cult-like world of caution. Everything's about what they fear, and they navigate by that, and we can see it all around us. So I think a lot of that comes with, this is all tied together.
Right.
What are my circumstances? What am I focused on? What are the difficulties that I just can't seem to overcome? And you get a gut punch once in a while, and but they all have meaning, and they all have the potential of great investment. They all have the ability to move God's genius through you in the right direction. And but all that comes back down to, what's my escape hatch? That's the question. Right. How do I overcome, get out, move beyond? What's my escape hatch? And it does come down to one thing, but it's a big thing. But the one thing we want to focus on today is helping others.
Right. Well, the interesting piece here, so just to kind of a recap, what the work we do for those who may be listening for the first time or so, I mean, we work individually with people. We have a lot of corporate expression. We've got a lot of different stuff going on, but in your one-to-one discipleship, mentoring relationships. Yeah. You're seeing people who are paralyzed in the midst of their circumstances and not knowing how to get out of it, and wallowing in that place and feeling stuck by what they see, their circumstances. And so we're saying helping others is a great way to begin to break free from that.
Yeah, and it's at different levels and different ways, and it's very subtle. Often it's subtle, like just a nuance almost. But walking through those things and breaking through them and helping people get moving is so you have to have a light at the end of the tunnel. It goes back to what are you afraid of versus your mission and all that. So think of it this way: it's where you're, it's dream big, start small, repeat daily. That's where the what ifs become why nots, and you get into the mode of why not and stand up and go. So with the same feel and heart of last week's show, which probably rubbed some people the wrong way, and I don't care, but with the same heart, that same stout heart, your circumstances are not your prison. You what you need to do is refocus, and you can always start small. And there's just no reason not to. Nobody has an excuse here.
Yeah.
And me first, right? When I'm teaching and helping people, I have to do it as well and do it first.
Absolutely.
And that's what leadership is.
Yeah, I was going to, that's the leadership. Right. And I'm listening to you. I don't want to be a distraction. When you're saying kind of like these key little phrases, I'm just capturing them here on the feed, so I'll be able to go back and when we edit the show, on, man. I just don't want you to be like, what's he doing?
He's multitasking.
What's he doing over there?
You're a shotgun, man. I'm a rifle.
There we go, baby.
Both work great.
That's all right, man. That's all right. Well, I think, when we had Melissa here chime in and she said decision paralysis is a real thing people struggle with. And, absolutely. Right. It is. It's where people get frozen in their circumstances and don't understand that God desires to use them for the good.
Right.
In fact, He's actually pruning things off of you that need to be gone, so you'll be ready to step in.
Right.
And this place, man, it's like, Kev, it's the overwhelming feeling I think that we feel in walking with people is seeing so many folks that are in that moment and having such a heart for people.
Most people.
Yeah, and that's what you said. It's kind of, it weighs on you because you go back.
It does.
You go back and it's like, man, I want to pick you up and I want to be like Forrest Gump, right? And put Bubba on my shoulders and run him out of the battlefield. But when it comes to spiritual development, you can't do that.
Well, that's right. And that's exactly the problem with Sunday morning Christianity. It's just too easy to box it into that. And I mean, I think most of us get that. But this is we see relationship in Scripture. We see deep friendship, walking with people.
Yes.
Doesn't mean you have to have everything in common with everybody to get in and love on them. It doesn't mean you're also there to get advice from everybody. Sometimes you just need to just be firm. But firm, I call it a bank vault with a smiley face, or it doesn't have to negotiate. A bank vault isn't nasty. It doesn't. It's just what it is. It's firm, and I think there's a lot of that's needed right now with our culture, with helping people get where they need to go. It's very loving, but it's also firm. So we're kind of taking that approach, and kind of, if you will, shocking you out of your paralysis.
Exactly.
To Melissa's quote.
Well, so one of the things I'm thinking about here automatically is being a dad, and you've been through this season certainly, so you know, but being a dad now to 5 kids under the 10 or younger, constantly around my house, what I'm seeing is that it's so easy for their eyes to be on them all the time. And we're dealing with that right now. And it reminds me of this because, when they're asked to do chores or when they're asked to do their schoolwork from home or whatever, it's like, well, what about me? This isn't what I want to do. Like, everything's about them. And I think what you're saying here is a heart check moment for people who are hyper-focused on their circumstances is, where are your eyes really? Is it all about you? Is it selfishness? Is it self-focused? Is it self-grandifying?
Right.
Or do you have a heart for the kingdom of God and to bless and help others?
Yeah, exactly. It's it's the easy thing to do is to continue to focus on the difficulties, and it's like not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Which is there.
Yes.
Like hope deferred makes the heart sick. God isn't the one that defers it. We have to choose it, and we have to make daily deposits of that. So if there's no light at the end of the tunnel in your mind, and you're torn between this following this physical walking by sight mode and what God's saying to your spirit, if you're a believer, then you feel like you're thrown in a well like Joseph, and there's no way out. So so people keep digging it deeper. And it's very debilitating because you have the power, the authority to step right out of that, and you don't know it. In other words, let God bring the rain and you'll float up and out. So, not to get too metaphorical, but it's very simple. When you want to know why you're here, we got fruit bearing. Three things of fruit. One is does it honor God, right? Does it help others, and does it satisfy your soul? So if I tell people, look if you're in a candy store, and you're an adult. I mean, we probably don't eat too much candy, but if you're in the candy store and you've got it's wide open, dream a little bit, be childlike. What's available to you? When you've given God your entire being, and you trust Him, then He will withhold nothing from you. So what do you want? He does ask that at some point because you're His. He already knows the answer. So people are afraid to step into that. They get focused on their circumstances. But when you're in that candy store, you have to look behind you and see there's 100 kids outside behind the glass that can't get in or can't afford the candy.
Yeah.
So I like to let people kind of hang in that moment. Here you are. You've got the ability to buy the whole store, or it's being given to you. Then what? Then what? What do you do with that? And it's funny because people take different time frames to get to the answer. Well, the answer is
turn around.
Yeah.
Give it to the kids, man.
Grab what you need and give the rest to them.
I love this analogy. This is something, a couple months back, you had brought this up initially just in our private conversations. And I love this picture because so many folks, it makes you wrestle with that image and that reality of walking into a candy store and knowing that you can have everything. It's all yours.
Yeah.
And so many people have been longing for that thing that they want, the promise that whatever it is, that they hoard it. And it's just like, no, this is my candy.
Yes.
And there's a world full of people that need that. It's like when you find the kingdom of God, right? The one thing you want to do is you got to go share it and be it to other people.
Yeah.
It's not for you to just sit on and hoard. And that's where we have got to take action to get out of the doldrums of faith that is just, sitting there, kind of staring through the glass of the candy store. God says it's yours already.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And you have the abundance of heaven. And people don't like that because they can't see it. But don't call yourself a Christian. That's I'm at that place where I'm just saying that because it's true. If you're going to walk by sight, don't call yourself a Christian. It doesn't mean you don't have moments of it. It means you need to be growing. I had a good meeting this morning with a guy who's seeing things in his life and he's growing. And it's the most rewarding thing there is. But people always ask me, well, how do you do this, with 25 or so people every week? And sometimes you're on the phone for a long time. But it's because it's helping somebody. It's what will matter in 1,000 years. So we have to dream big. We have to ask ourselves that question. And then we have to start small. So I was sitting with a guy the other day who's got some big struggles, some debt, some problems, with alcohol and things like that. He got a great potential. A very difficult moment with his marriage and family, et cetera. So the easy thing is just to walk away from it all or to go into a pit and consume and medicate. It doesn't matter. You pick your poison. It's all bad. But, when I started talking about, are you dreaming a little bit? What do you want to do? The answer is, well, that's selfish. And that's where people are.
Wow.
I got to do this over here. I got to get it all fixed and figured out. And who knows when that could happen? Maybe never. It's insurmountable.
And then I can dream.
That's selfish. What God's saying is, start dreaming now. Build your spiritual landscape. We don't fight with flesh and blood. We fight with spiritual powers and principalities. We have to get to that place. So people need to engage the process. Fruit bearing has 3 markers. We just mentioned them. The process is the Word. Thanksgiving. This is deep, deep stuff. It's not long. It doesn't take hours. It just takes a little bit of your time, your first fruits. And if you can't give that to God, man, start there. But part of that is dreaming. And I think a lot of people get stuck with that.
Yeah.
So it's a small dose. What can you do? What can you do? And I don't let people get away with it, because you can do something. Now, you may not, but then that's, my job's kind of done at that point. You're stuck.
A couple of thoughts. We had said this on last week's show. You made mention, I don't like the word revival, right? And we agree upon that. And, this morning, of course, I think after all the drama last night, people were tapped out and they were like, we're praying for revival. And I'm sitting here going like, why are we waiting on some magical moment of revival when we have the Spirit of God dwelling in us? Yeah. Get on with it. Like, that's right. God is saying, get on with it now. Yeah. Stop waiting on something. People are waiting, like you said, the gentleman here, he's waiting on providing for his family and the obligation of being a dad before he actually goes and dreams. Like, and he's been conditioned in his own life to believe that is selfish. Yeah. Because a dad or a mom somewhere said, hey, man, don't get your hopes up. Right. Don't think about you. Right. Think about others. And what we're saying is in dreaming with God, you actually are going to be investing in others because what he put inside of you is what they need. Right.
It's selfish not to.
Yes.
When you look around, remember last week we talked about everything, the fear of everything but the Lord is worldly wisdom. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. These are completely mutually exclusive, opposite things. So when you start seeing things around you that look weird and we're going there really fast, it's accelerating. You can see it. I mean, you can see it in everything you look at outside of, standing on the Word, living out your faith. So it's counterfeit. What does counterfeit mean? It means it's something that looks like the truth. It's a nugget of truth wrapped in lies. And it's harder than just a lie because you have to untangle it. Your spirit says one thing, your mind is saying something else. It causes people to spin out and worry and, the three fears: fear of death, fear of poverty, fear of the opinions of others, which is a huge one. So anyway, as you have these moments and difficulties, the simplest way, there's a lot to this, but the simplest process is to begin to dream, give God that time. And we can talk about how to do that and what that looks like. It's not weird. We do it anyway. We daydream, or people do it with things that aren't good.
Yeah.
But the other side of that is, what do you get up and do? And that's that paralysis moment. So you have to do something. Well, and I really love this family. And I start to weep if I think about it too much, because I really want to help them. They're great people, and they have a bright future. I don't want to get too specific, but this young man desperately wants to do something that God's put in his heart, but he wouldn't let himself dream a little bit about it. And so it's often one day, and one day it's never going to come. So you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
What does that seed look like? We call it seed technology. You don't stand over it; you just keep planting them. So whatever that is, and this isn't about one person or one family. That's just one example. I've dealt with probably 4 or 5 of these in the last week. But whether you love to build wooden things,
yes,
whether you love to cook for people, whether you love to, whatever it is, you have a dream. These things are part of your personality that God wired into you. They matter. So you don't have to go and have a restaurant. You don't have to go and have a big building for something. You don't have to go and have a wood shop. But do one thing for one person this week.
Just start.
One thing. And it comes all the way back down to, can you call somebody? Can you buy a cup of coffee for somebody? But it's best to do it. And I wanted to read part of a text I sent somebody. I'll get to it here in a second. I keep getting, but it's best to do it. Here's what I put. your escape will only come through helping others.
Mm.
Best to do it in ways that you love. Best to do it in ways that honor God. Focus on that, and you'll be focusing on the door to your next season.
Mm.
And so, I'm not sure it's really being heard, but that's my heart, is to say, hey, start small, do one thing that you can do. It's always better to do something you love, but it doesn't have to be some big, huge thing. Start small, and God will continue, just like he does with your finances and everything else. When you invest your gifts into helping somebody else, God shows up. He's already there.
Yes.
But he will provide for you in that. He will give you more opportunities. And man, you talk about starting to become purpose-driven. Now you're dealing with your own value. And that's what everybody's after. And that's what discipleship does.
Yes.
And if the world could understand this, it would change it.
No doubt. Well, it is changing it, right? We know that.
Yeah.
And it's that the kingdom is always that unseen thing. It's the mustard seed, right? And it is coming, man. I believe everything in me that this mustard seed of thing that God has given us, man, is going to be this tree that will provide shelter and shade for generations to come.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
I know that because it is for me. And it has for my family, and it will for others. And so I'm standing on that testimony with you, brother.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
This picture that you had a minute ago of the tunnel, right? I just had this weird kind of, this metaphor is kind of playing in my mind. It's like people are in the dark tunnel, right? And instead of walking toward the light at the end of the tunnel, they're arguing with the rats in the tunnel.
There's rats in there.
Yeah, there's rats in the
You're
tunnel.
talking about the sewer now.
That's right. It's a sewer wherever it is. But it's like literally like you're in a dark place, but you're sitting there and you're actually like arguing with the rats. Or it's even like, let's set up shop and have a service right here in the middle of the darkness and the rats. Instead of saying, what is one thing? When you said, what is one thing you can do today that is you that will bless somebody else?
Right.
And that is what opens the door to your new season.
Yes.
Man, guys, I really want y'all to take that to heart. If you live every single day with that, you will change the world, and God will bless you in the process.
Well, it's not theory. It's something I had to learn the hard way, and it took a lot of refinement. I guess that's the good news about being the old fart. But you can always do something. It's just like we're doing a lot more active praying now for our community, and I think that's a real blessing, especially for you, which you feel really called to do that. And why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we? It's just another thing we can do, and it's real. We getting short.
We got 5 minutes.
So for with a couple of different circumstances. One is, this and that, and I'm struggling over here and this and having this problem and that problem, but I love doing this one thing. And there's a lot of things you can love. It's not just reduced down to one thing. Why don't you do that for one person who needs it? When you do it for someone who has a need, just one little thing, man, it flips the model back over. It rights the ship. It says, man, I don't care. It's not about money. It's not about, in fact, that's where the what if becomes a why not. You get a little pissed off and say, you know what? I can do this.
Yep.
I don't care if I live in the street. I can go do one thing. And that is the heart of Jesus, not white knuckling and trying to get everything right and all this other crap. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm saying it's heartbreaking.
Yes.
But in one circumstance was, look, you want to do this? Well, why don't you cook one meal, dude? You're a genius at this, and I've experienced it a little bit. Why don't you cook one meal for a family who could use it? Apply your genius. Life Center will buy the ingredients. You go pick it out, and dude, we're behind you. And that's the difference between this old Sunday morning 3 songs and a prayer and a sermon, between being the church, where we have a community of incredible people in business in all arenas who want to get behind people in their dreams, who are truly being spiritually, they're truly being discipled. They're growing into who they are, and they will honor God, and they will help people, and it will satisfy their soul. There's nothing better. This is the answer.
Yes.
I mean, I'm saying it boldly, but I know it. I live it every day. So anyway, the circumstances aren't your enemy. You don't hear a light bulb complaining about lighting up a dark room. They are here to help you uncover why you're here. But you have to look at it through the Spirit. You know, today's text, and I'll just read that. I think I had that up earlier here. But today's text is kind of the premise for all this. What God is saying is always the right answer, much more efficient to develop our listening skills than our intelligence. Practice resting your mind today and listening with your spirit. And that goes back to last week, you know. Are you navigating? Are you choosing to follow the Spirit of God? If you're not, God may inhabit your spirit. He may live in you. But if you don't choose to follow that, you're going to get stuck, and you can be deceived in, you know, all the other things we see around us.
Yeah.
So.
You know, that reminds me of Peter. The Lord, for whatever reason, a couple of weeks ago, took me back to Peter's betrayal of Jesus. And I think I needed it in my own heart just because, I identify a lot with Peter, and I'm the eager guy. I'm going to build 3 houses. Let's go, Lord, and I'm going to chop off somebody's ear who, tries to come at my God. And that's noble in a way, but it was all about Peter's effort. And I think Peter thought he was beyond that. But what I loved about it is Peter followed Jesus when he was captured. And he's standing in the inner portico or the whatever, and Jesus looks at him. And you and I have talked about that before.
Yeah.
And when I was reading that passage, the Holy Spirit spoke into my heart, and he said, it's possible to be in the presence of Jesus and still betray him. And it was just like, wow.
Yeah.
I don't want to be foolish to think that I have the Spirit in me, right? And I'm in the presence of Jesus, but I'm not actually doing the thing that he's called me to do.
Sure. Well, this is why we need to know what's in the Scripture.
Right.
It's not, but these characters, these incredible people went through stuff. They had a commonality between the heroes and the people who broke through were people who let go of logic and their own will. That's what you surrender. How and how long to the behest of God's will. That doesn't mean the desires of your heart are still there. And you get to engage those with God. So that's you need that humility process. But when Jesus looked at Peter, you can see that. Great movies have depicted it well.
Yeah, you feel it. Well, guys, thanks so much for joining us for this first segment today of Wake Up Our Faith. We're going to take a short break, recognize some of our corporate partners, and then be back for our second segment. As always, if you want to get connected to the work that we're doing, you can do so at youprint.life, youprint.life. You can join the Portable Faith community as a way to get plugged in and also participate in our charitable work at the Life Center. So don't go anywhere. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back right after this. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for watching today's show, Wake Up Our Faith. This is the weekly broadcast from YouPrint Faith Personal Development. I want to take a moment to thank our corporate partners for making this show possible and just being a part of this community. These folks are friends, and they run excellent businesses here in the community. We would love for you guys to check them out and support them in whatever way that you can. One of those being Dr. Greg Veman at Seacoast Skin Surgery. Dr. V also has a fantastic ministry called Everlasting Strength. You can find him on the web, everlastingstrength.org. If you need to give him a call, 910-256-2100. Also, Century 21 Swalyer & Associates, the Carolina's largest, most successful Century 21 agency with more than 30 years experience in the southeastern North Carolina market. Reach out, give them a call, 910-256-0021. Also, Chris Hutchins of Guaranteed Rate Mortgage. More than 25 years experience in the mortgage business. If you're buying a home or refinancing, make sure to reach out to Chris Hutchins and his team at Guaranteed Rate Mortgage, 910-344-0304. Also, our good friend Chris Riley and his team at Cap Trust Financial, helping clients and their families with their long-term financial plans. Make sure to reach out to Chris and his team at 910-256-8882. Also, the Honeycutt Group. This is a family-owned insurance brokerage company based right here in Wilmington, North Carolina. 10 years in the business. Any needs regarding home insurance, life insurance, auto insurance, give the Honeycutt Group a call, 910-338-1773. Physical Therapy Services of Wilmington. That's ptservicesofwilmington.com on the web. Family owned and operated since 1983. Wilmington's number one physical therapy service here in New Hanover County, 910-763-8286. Also, Freeman Landscaping, southeastern North Carolina's largest family-owned landscaping irrigation firm, in business since 1992, 910-796-1166. Also, to Melissa the Coach. This is Melissa Thomas. You can find her online at melissathecoach.com. She is a speaker, personal finance coach, helping people minimize their clutter in their lives so that they can pursue their purpose and their passion. Also, the Rising Tide Real Estate Team. This is a full-service real estate brokerage company based right here in Wilmington, North Carolina, out of the Intercoastal Realty office. Make sure you give them a call if you're looking to buy or sell a home, 910-620-7177. Also want to thank our graphic design artist, which is Mr. Ryan Daly and R8D Designs, as well as our friends at Beach Bloom Florists. They are located at Carolina Beach. The Taylors are fantastic people. Make sure you go to them if you have any needs for flowers or candy arrangements, 910-707-0633. Thanks again to all of our corporate partners for making this show possible. We encourage you guys to go check these folks out. We'll be back in just a minute with Wake Up Our Faith. Hello and welcome back to Wake Up Our Faith. This is the show where passion, purpose, and dreaming big challenge common sense. We like to think of it as a conversation to shed light on the upside of upside down living. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams with you today and every Wednesday. We're the co-founders of YouPrint Faith and Personal Development, helping individuals and organizations tap into their deeper understanding of why they are here, and then helping develop those gifts and giving them a place to live that out here in this local community and beyond. Kev, today's topic has been fantastic, really dealing with a lot of the spirit of hesitation, the spirit of caution, and the spirit of paralysis that exists around us. We see it in a lot of our relationships. Yeah. So really helping people break free of this moment of, frozenness to begin to step into why they're here. Before we left, we were talking about dreaming and the necessity of that. So we'll just kind of pick up where we left off. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the thing is with God, He doesn't. It's not hard. It's just we're blinded until we begin to learn how to navigate a different way. So He said His burden is light, His yoke is easy. So when you're looking for rest, this is where you go. It's not about sitting in a chair and praying all day, although that might be good for some people. Yeah. And I've certainly done that. But it's about stepping in small doses. And that is the way through your circumstances. You don't get to escape them. The picture I had years ago when I was going through really just a complete life change was he would show me this funnel, and I had this over and over again, but I saw me and my family kind of circling around the top trying to jump out, and it sounds weird, probably is, but he just said, you got to go through. You got to go through. You have to go through it. But the way through it has great purpose, and that's the light, right, at the end of it, is when you begin to help people, what you do is you take back your ground. So for this one awesome young man who felt stifled. We still have a long way to go, but you don't just jump ship. You still have things you have to do in your daily life. But just one little thing. Do this once a month. Do this, do that. Start there. And what happens is you keep doing that, and God does the rest. And it's crazy, but when He said, "Write for me, and I'll provide," years ago, I had no idea there would be a book in all the bookstores. And I saw a picture the other day of it. It was in Barnes and Noble, and I just looked at it. I thought, wow, wasn't that an interesting moment for me? But it was the confirmation. It's not about me. It was the confirmation.
Sure.
That God does what He says.
Yeah.
And so we have to move a little bit, and I think the enemy keeps us from doing that. But we move toward helping people, fruit bearing.
Yeah. One of the things that I think is a really powerful concept for people to press into is, it says in the Word, "Don't despise the day of small beginnings."
Right.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Now I'm going to share this because this is where we came from. You and I first started meeting in a coffee shop,
Yeah.
and it was literally just you and I in a coffee shop talking.
Right.
And then the Lord opened the door, which you had seen. He had spoken to you about a radio opportunity, and we were at the small station. And we still joke with the ceiling tiles falling in, the toilet didn't work, and it was just and you kept telling me, Matt, don't despise the day of small beginnings.
Right.
And you kept pressing in. And the thing is, though, is we despise little things.
Yeah.
There's a problem that we have with insignificance as a culture.
Yeah.
We tell ourselves we're insignificant, and we tell ourselves that one small act of kindness is insignificant. And so we have a problem with small things. And it's
Right.
it's almost like we begrudgingly battle the idea of planting seeds,
Right.
because it seems foolish.
Yeah.
But that is actually what honors God, because of all things He could compare the kingdom to, He compared it to a seed.
Yeah, well, a mountain can move for sure. I used to hear people say that can't really happen. That's just an allegory. Well, my birthday, 1980, I saw a mountain move. It was Mount St. Helens blew the heck up, and it moved. So you can't say that doesn't happen. But the reason a seed is way more important, because a rock is just something you see. It's a big dead rock. Doesn't matter how big it is. It can be Mount Everest, but it's still a big dead rock. What's so great about a seed is it's got the potential of all life in it. And you can take one seed and grow an entire orchard or a forest. So God is that way. This is the upside of the upside down kingdom. But you have to learn to navigate that way. You don't have to jump off a building. You just have to start small. But it always goes back to fruit bearing, abiding in Him. He's in you, you're in Him, He's in heaven, He's at the right hand of God, Jesus the Father, et cetera. Where does this all add up? If you don't know it's in there, then start to know.
Right.
If you do know it's in there, then get off your butt and do something. And that's that firm thing. It's got a smiley face on my wall. But it's that anger is toward the enemy, who has taken away people's joy from doing the things because they got to do this linear baloney. And we're beyond that. So it's not temporary or linear. It's three-dimensional. Step in. But don't despise the day of small beginnings. God is slow and deep. Evangelism is fishing, which is great, and it's funny you love to fish, but you're also discipling. That is seed planting. That is slow and patient, but that's what changes lives. One opens the door, brings people in. The other one changes their lives. So, but all of that leads back to their value. If you want to know your value, you have to pour that into somebody else. If you don't, then you're not really following Jesus.
Yeah. Woo. I love what you said earlier. It's like, just don't call yourself a Christian. I'm like, yes.
Well, I'm tired of it.
I'm with you. I stand with you. I think it's awesome.
I'm tired of the enemy impinging upon people in that way.
Oh, sure.
Not, everybody's in a different place, but it's a breath of encouragement to get up and keep going. Keep going. You're not alone, in other words.
Yeah. One of the things that hits me here is until you watch God use your gift to feed someone else, you don't know true satisfaction and fulfillment.
Yeah, I would say that's true. Look, we go back to the AGE thing, right? This teaching, and it's we have to get beyond. I'm a hard worker. Okay, that's great. Good for you. Me too. But then you get through the gifts. Well, it's about my gifts. I got to figure out how to use them. But see, all that's sort of inferior. It has to get to anointing. And again, that's kind of like the word revival, but that's the word God gave me. I'm going to use it. So we have to get to that as a blueprint. So when you start to understand that, you don't have to uncover the whole thing. You have to keep visiting that place. And you do that, the markers are the desires of your heart. And people like to criticize that and say, well, that's flesh and all. Yeah, my taste buds are flesh. I like pizza. God knows it, and he lets me eat it. So thank you. No, whatever. But I'm kidding a little bit. But you don't have to build this whole thing out in one day. You just have to step into your field and plant some seeds.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like, whatever you can do. It's like the teacher saying to the punk student who says, well, I got writer's block. It's, English class.
Mm-hmm.
And the teacher says, well, write about that then, Ace. I love that. Oh, okay. That's kind of what God did to me. So anyway, yeah, it's what are the things, and when you spend time on the Word, in the Word, when you spend time thanking God, you have just delighted yourself in Him. Guess what's next? The desires of your heart, which this isn't selfish. It's selfish not to. If you are a hammer or a saw, and you now have your blueprint, you understand the beginning of it. He says you're a hammer, Matt's a saw, a screwdriver. Dude, we can build some stuff.
Yes.
And then effort just happens. Why? Because you are excited about it. You love it. I work just as hard, maybe harder than ever now, and but it's because it's passion. It will matter.
It's like we live in a world where people have told hammers that they're not a hammer. Don't be a hammer, be a screwdriver.
Right.
Or telling screwdrivers, don't be a screwdriver, be a saw.
Yeah.
And so what happens is people don't know who they truly are. They're not living out of their gift. They're not feeding, therefore, people, right? It's this nobility of religious duty, and that's what God's tearing down in this season. He's just upending all of it.
Absolutely.
It's like God saying, okay, keep trusting in your own understanding. Keep trusting in your strength. Keep trusting in your hard work and effort. It will always end you back up to this place where you can't climb this mountain.
That's right. Well, we move from self-confidence, which is kind of, you can do a little bit with that, to supreme confidence. That's not selfish. That's God honoring. We're going to brag about Him. And that's a very powerful way to live, because now nothing has power over you. And so when you add back in the physical things, they're all built on that. And that's why somebody like Melissa, for instance, is so valuable to this whole process, because she helps you understand and to slough off and prune off the things that don't matter in your life, and to go and be great stewards of the things that do. We're not saying quit your day job. We're saying start dreaming about where you want to go. Dream big, start small, repeat daily, and God will bring that to harvest. How do I know? Because I've seen it. Absolutely had to learn to live this way. Been rich and poor, and that's a unique position. But there's wisdom in that. So when we act as a family, when everybody's living this out, it's unstoppable. That is revival.
Yes.
You don't have to beg God for it or fast for it. You just have to start to understand why He made you, and that honors Him. It's not selfish. It's selfish not to step into that. And anyway, that we've said it again and again, but helping people is a huge way, a simple way to just say, what can I do this week, next week, etc. Just do one thing.
The two things that war against this, at least that have come up in today's conversation, just to put two phrases to it, one of them we already said was insignificance. We belittle small things. We belittle seeds.
Yeah.
That's another thing. The other thing you said just a minute ago was the idea of impatience. You would never grow a garden
Right.
if you thought a seed was insignificant and if you were impatient. You never would.
Yeah, you can't farm quickly.
Yes.
Even if you have great equipment, it takes time.
Yes.
That's why God's the one that knows how to make the seed grow, right?
Yeah. And that's where I think people have been misled by culture.
Yeah.
You know, that's that cult
Right.
of caution. And
It is.
where it's like, oh, well, this doesn't matter enough. What does it matter if I make one chair for this person, or if I make one cookie for this person, or if I, you know what I mean, call one friend on the phone today,
Right.
you know, or you call the friend and then a month later you call them back and they're still in the same spot. You're like, well, see, God, it's not doing anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's childish.
Yes.
That's Zechariah. John the Baptist's dad got his mouth zipped up.
How could
He's
that be?
being a little pud, little goofball. And but Mary, mother of Jesus, wasn't. That's two kids in the back of the car going to Disney. One's a brat, one's not. That's
God, what a
childlike
great teaching
versus childish. Very subtle. It's like a salt and sugar in a jar on the counter. You got to taste it to know the difference. So we want to be childlike. So we don't need to beg God, right? That whole thing. It's God is there. He is in you. He's for you. You're in his presence. Just start to move. Take one step. I love the hide and seek analogy. He gave that to me years ago. And I was like, where are you? Why am I having to do this? And he said, stop counting and get up and come after me. Why do I have to come after you? Because I want you to catch me. And I'm telling you, you do that, you go across the living room, and there he is. When you find him, he gives you a hug. He says, let's do it again. That is relationship building. There's no mechanical faith that works. You have to, this is organic, it's spiritual. If you don't step into that in a small way, you'll always be trying to do it the way Pie Chart Man does, linear, flat. It's just, we're done with that.
Yeah.
I mean, can't you look around and see it? Let's take cash away. Let's make you wear a mask. Pretty soon you have to have a daggum vaccine to shop. That is, look at it. I'm not conspiracy guy. I'm saying our culture is a mess because we haven't begun to let God lead us. It's not about religion. It's not about thus saith the Lord and all that stuff. It's about standing up and knowing that what Jesus paid for, you're here to step into that role and carry it out while you're here. Start small. Start small. You don't have to know the whole Bible. Just start small.
Well, I think a lot of so many people are like wrestling with the how do we do this, And as we say, God is the how.
Yeah.
And so the simple answer is just do something today.
That's right.
Do something for someone today.
Yeah.
Give of yourself. The breakthrough moment. I mean, I honestly feel like, I've said this before. You and I have been walking together now for 5 years. And I think coming into it, man, I had a ton of bravado and a ton of strongholds and things that I needed to break off and learn through and grow through. And even after doing that for 3 years, I'm kind of like, well, I got this thing figured out now. I'm like, got you, Kev.
Sure.
And there's probably days when you rolled your eyes at me, when I wasn't looking, and even when I was looking. But, you said something to me a couple months ago that really broke off, I feel like a final root that was there. You said, Matt, no one can stop you from giving yourself.
That's right.
And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I needed to hear.
Yeah.
And since then, I feel like I've woken up each day with this newfound sense of I don't even have to try. I just have to be me.
That's it.
And it's just like,
that's our job.
I don't have to worry about it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? If I want to call my buddy Rick, or I want to call Eric, or I want to say, hey man, pray, or people in our community, God puts them on my heart.
Right.
If I see a guy on the corner and the Spirit says, go talk to that guy, I'll go do it.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's just, it's fun.
You want to see God show up, start doing that. And man, he's got you covered. You have to be patient with him because he's also preparing you. And this is navigating. This is walking by faith, and then learning to be led by the Spirit. And you guard your heart in the process, and everything flows from that place. It's all based on the truth of Scripture, but people are afraid of it. So if I got a guy who's pretty well off saying I can't read the Bible, I'm going to go buy him a Bible. I ain't got no money, but I'm going to buy him a daggum Bible because screw you, devil.
Yes.
So we push back against the things that are linear and common sense. It doesn't mean we throw them away. It means they don't lead us. God leads us. And, if people throw rocks at you, just remember Moses in the burning bush and how he probably felt. But thank God he did what he did. So that takes humility, but it also takes that fight from a what if to a why not, and grab hold of that. I got this little thing. It says Kevin on it, and it's my Chick-fil-A. I'll just approve it, man. It just comes from 1982. And but I just wanted to say, take that away. I'll keep this because it reminds me. How can I help you? How can I help you? How can I help you? Even a good friend this morning, I was telling him about somebody we're wanting to help, and he says, "Let me know how I can help." And man, I love that. I love that pure. Let's go do it. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of losing or missing out. Just start small. And God will do the rest. Some plant, some water. He knows how the seed grows. It's not rocket science.
The concept here, which I love that name tab. I'm gonna make you wear that to next time we in public together. I'm gonna make you.
It's a real deal, man. That is me, man. Like, God, how long ago was that?
So good, man. Yeah, don't remind me. It's 38 years.
38 years.
Because this year is the big
fixing chicken sandwiches. Oh yeah, for you. Yeah.
Big 39 this
right.
year. Whew.
Okay.
I'm catching you, Kevin. I'm catching you. Yeah. This mindset and this heart set that we have to have, that now is our time.
Yes.
And the thing that I feel underneath all this, Kevin, is how would you live if you walked into every battle knowing you already had victory?
Mm-hmm.
That's the mindset that this takes. When you see yourself in the kingdom, and when I'm a son or daughter of the Most High God, you walk in knowing that no matter what happens, you get victory.
Yeah, absolutely. Our job is to step into the battle, knowing that's David, right? Goliath, the same God that delivered me from the paw of the bear and the paw of the lion will deliver me from this Philistine. He knew, but he knew it in his spirit. And we've got to navigate by that, or we will fall. We will sink in the water. If you navigate by anything else, it leads only to one place. And it looks grand and wonderful and man's intelligence. But it doesn't. Look where it leads. Have a little vision when you're planting a seed. Anyway, that's what you're saying, is have a little vision. Step into the battle. God's going to win it. And whatever comes in the process, my job is to live this out. And I'm going to go and give and help somebody, whether it means you're fixing a Chick-fil-A sandwich in 1982 or just trying to help people do this together. But
funny Chick-fil-A testimony. I got lost in the mall when I was a little kid because they used to have Chick-fil-A's only in the mall.
That's right. That's where I did it.
Yeah, okay. So they used to give out the free samples.
Yeah.
Well, I was a 3-year-old.
We wore chicken suit.
I was a 3-year-old. I ran away from my mom and dad to go get a chicken sample, and I got so scolded because I ran away. But I was like, "But Mom, it was for the Jesus chicken."
That's right.
Sorry, that was completely off topic.
Yeah, no, that's good. Well, so when you build out your day, when you give God your first fruits, when you give Him your time, when you just step in, you don't have to figure it all out. You just have to have that willing heart. That's why that's the most important thing. He'll do the rest, but go slow. Take back your ground. Don't talk yourself out of it. Yeah, buts are not from God. His word is solid. You don't have to understand it to do it. Just start. And so that's a really important point here. Rather than complaining about your circumstances or the dark room, you're there to light the room up. If you're Tom Brady and you got a sandlot to play on, you don't complain about the sandlot. You go, I'm taking it for Jesus. David in the valley of the shadow of death recognized this is a shadow, not death. I'm going to take it. I'm not going to fall down and weep in it. I'm going to stand up and take it. A what if needs to become a why not, and do it. And thank God, and whether you're a Beatles fan or whatever, or Michael Jordan, and I'm not saying these guys are believers, but the point is God designed us to live this out, to navigate by that thing rather than the other. That's why they're known and leaders. And we just want to make sure we're honoring God with it.
See, that's the difference, is that they're operating in the principles, in the truth.
Right.
The difference is honoring God. That's not for us to determine. We know what we're going to do.
Right.
We have to emulate that, which is the heroes of faith.
That's right. Look at the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and they did it.
They did it. They followed it, and God it's okay if we've got if we take a minute, like Gideon throwing a fleece several times. Right. I just see God going, bless your little heart. Like, all right, you ready? You ready now? We got work to do. I love you. Let's go.
Let's go.
And that's God. Hey, one thing before we go, I did want to say today is my grandmother's birthday. She passed a few years ago, and
I remember.
She was so instrumental to me. I lived with her for 8 years, from about age 18 to about 24, 25, and then moved to Tennessee. But she would have been, I think, 98 today. She's born in 1922, September 30. So I just wanted to say, Emma, I love you and thank you so much, and I know you can hear me. But what a wonderful legacy she has in even what we're doing now that she really didn't get to see.
Oh, man.
So I just wanted to say it because it's her birthday.
What a blessing.
So happy birthday.
Amen, bro. Thank you for that, dude. That's awesome. I'm over here. Woo! I'm over here just, God's so good, y'all. Yeah, he is so good. And what an honor it is to walk out what he's called us to do with you whenever it is that you guys are ready. All we can say is jump on in. The water is warm and it is good, and we're going for a swim. So as we wrap up today's show, Kev, I just want to remind folks to get plugged into the community. It's a way to get started. Mm-hmm. It's a way to participate in the innovative charitable work that we're doing at the Life Center. Yeah. It goes directly to bless people in need. Just this past month, we've been able to bless a couple of single moms with a variety of different needs that they have. Yeah. That's always ongoing, kind of that needs-based benevolence. So get plugged in. You can go to wakeupmyfaith.com and join the community. And besides that, you get access to an incredible community of people, content, prayer, courses, daily encouragement, mentoring, all the above. So wakeupmyfaith.com. If y'all are not plugged into that, we would love for you to join us. As we wrap up today, Kev, helping others, any final thoughts?
Yeah, just start small, dream big, start small, but do it. Don't sit around complaining about the dark. Just do one thing. One thing I did want to mention real quick about the faith in business, because that's a whole new thing, and we need to start talking about that a little bit more. 2.0 coming up, right?
Yes, yeah. October 8th, by the way. October 8th is our next Faith in Business gathering.
Okay. Yep. So, but just think about this. It's not about business. It's about the people in business. And what we do is about people. It's about honoring God, helping people. So this is one of the ways that we have put our foot forward, and Matt is leading that. And so it's going to be, we keep getting better and growing and refining. But it's about the people in business and coming together with the struggles, how to have impact, and how to take direction. And everything we talk about here, but how do you do that in business? So please jump into that.
Yes.
It's something we do just like everything else. It's a lot of it's we're just giving ourselves to this to help people. So I just want to mention it.
Absolutely, guys. You can get connected there. October 8th at Waterman's Brewing, 8 a.m. Faith in Business will be rolling out, kind of like Kev said, version 2.0. So many thanks to Joe Catanacci in studio today, producing the show. Kev, as always, man, thanks for your time and investment in this community. Guys, we are really at the impact point, I believe. Some amazing things are happening. God is moving, and we appreciate you guys being here. We'll be back next week for Wake Up Our Faith. See ya.